Welcome to the 166th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. It's your host, Keith. Got a few things I want to talk about today for everybody to hopefully it touches your life as it has mine. And I was going to also answer some questions that people have been asking. We get a lot of the mockers, they come in and they start, well, show us where you get all these hits and do this and do that, all these claims and blah, blah, blah. No problem. What I did was I went in and got the stats for the show and what happens. And I'm not a bragger type guy. I don't brag on this and brag that. If we win court cases, whether no matter how long it takes us to get them done, we don't say anything about it. We never have. We'll talk about the problems, but we never really talk about successes and things like that. And it's not that we don't have successes. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have successes. I mean, you don't just keep losing and losing and losing and then eventually quit, right? Well, we haven't quit, so it tells you a lot right there. But I want to show you the stats here. This is the analog stats. Now, on Google, or I'm sorry, on YouTube, it'll show like 489 hits. Okay. I have the real stats here in just a few minutes. You'll see it in a second. But it'll say 489, 435, sometimes 505, but that's about it. That's all you'll see. And I don't have a counter on the. You will see the hit status. I think it's 114,000 at the bottom of the website. Well, that's coming from Jetpack. Okay, that's not the real stats. Statistics, meaning how many hits we get on the T-ROH show. And keep in mind, I don't make any money doing this. I've been doing it for free for 3-4 years. I was hoping that people could donate $10 or something, helps out. Doing these shows and programs every week. But really, what happens is when you have that many people, a lot of them think, well, I would like to donate, don't want to. Somebody else will donate. And guess what happens? All of them think the same way, and nobody donates. That's what happens. So I'd appreciate if, $5-10 if you could spare it. It helps with the show. It helps keep the show on air. Pays for the website per month, because I'm about to show you how many terabytes of data is transferred on the show. And you're going to be in shock. Most of you will be in shock of how many hits the T-ROH show gets. And they go all over the world. And by the way, I read the stats. A lot of you use Mozilla, man. You do not use Chrome and Google. I mean, a lot of you use Mozilla. It's unbelievable how many of you do. Because the stats show us what kind of browser you use. It shows us all this stuff, okay? So I'm going to show you right now what this is. There's no computer sound, so I won't need it. Okay, now this is the web server statistics for the TROHshow.com. It's right at the top. Successful requests, 46,815,830. That's how many hits that the T-ROH show has had in the past 6 to 7 months. That's close to or over 6 million hits per week or per month. 6 times 7, 42. Then you add in the next 4 million. Okay. So if you think about that, that's a lot. It was up to at one time 29 million we got in 1 month, and then it slowed way back down. I don't know who was hitting it, but apparently it was another country. Then it got blocked off. We could tell that it went right back down. Then we were getting 4 to 5 million a week for a while, and then it dropped down to 2. So obviously Google or whatever is blocking some of the website. Some people have been telling us the website's being blocked here and there, or it doesn't come up. You would think that, oh, well, that's just bots. Bots are doing it. Yeah, we have bots in there, but that's not all of them. Very low amount. Actually, it's about 100,000 hits on the bots. So we get data transferred down here. If you see it, it's 166.04 terabytes. That's 556.47 gigabytes per day. Okay, and then the average data transfer per day, I'm sorry, it was 613.87 gigabytes per day. So this tells you right now how many hits we get. It's absolutely unbelievable. Sometimes the website will get so many hits, the website will kind of go down, because of the amount of traffic that we get. And when I started the T-ROH show, I thought we probably would get maybe 200 or 300 people watching the show, because what I thought is that the material was so boring to listen to that I didn't think anybody would be interested in it. I thought, well, we'll just, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just bring everybody up to speed to where we are today as far as the education level, what we're talking about as far as foreigners are concerned, what's really going on in the world. And it really gives you a completely different aspect and view of the world around you. And it shocks a lot of people. We get some people that will go up to 37, okay? Then they just have to stop. They can't take anymore. And they actually write us and tell us, man, I got to stop, man. I can't take this anymore. They get all pissed off for a while, which is kind of funny to me. I'm used to it, and it's the laughter is not laughing at them. It's I'm glad that it's working. Okay, that how this is being done is working and getting through to people. Because the first video always the worst. Okay, they'll come in and watch the first video, first T-ROH show. And we always get resistance right away. Well, this isn't true because of this, this, and this. This isn't true because this, and this. And it just goes on. And I go, got another first show response, okay, or another first show comment. Every single time. Then it goes on. Then they keep, for some reason, they cut it down, but then they keep going. So go figure, right? So then they get up to 20 or 25, 30, stuff like they're pissed. They're upset and they're mad. 37, they can't take it anymore, and they shut it off. They wait 2 to 3 weeks, and they'll come back, and they'll reach it up to 57 to 65, the episodes. And then after that, it all smooths out, and they feel better, and they realize, wow, this is going to change my life. It's going to change the way I see things. It's a very big emotional thing for them. And by the time they get to their oath or affirmation, they're crying. And I don't blame them. It's a long process. Process takes about 6 months. And some people actually brag. They say, I've seen all 61, 65 of the T-ROH show. And I've seen it all, seen them all. And I really know what I'm doing. And I understand what is going on. I understand what's happening around me. Okay? Now, if you don't really believe these stats, that's fine. I don't care. Have I ever cared? This is where where we get where the hits are coming from. Okay, so we get people like Jetpack, and then I think Ace of Coins and stuff. We got DuckDuckGo. We got 16,000 from them. But believe it or not, 41,221,837 come from the T-ROH show itself. We get 30,000 from generalpostoffice.org. These are referrals. Believe it or not, 23,879 come from YouTube. Now go figure, right? Go look at all the bottom of the numbers on YouTube. You'll see 450 and all that. We get 23,879 people hit the T-ROH show from YouTube and Facebook. It was 26,000 from Facebook. 65,000 come from Google. And remember, we got 2 separate stats here. So one is from HTTP, then HTTPS. And that's the SSL certificate. So you're seeing 46 million, folks. There's another 6 million on just the HTTP with no SSL certificate. Okay. Now we've got American Herald. We get some things from them. Bing, Pepper Dave's Online, and then we have some really cool ones. I thought. Here's one. Here's another one for 1746 on T-ROH show. Ammo Land. Love it, guys. Love it. Okay. We get 1,522 from Ammo Land. Ammunition Land, if is what it is. Then there's a redirect blog spot that we get 1,209. We got 19,846 on 156 sites that are not listed over here. Okay, so there's 156 sites, which means they're foreign sites. So 156 websites overseas are watching the show. And that's where a lot of our stuff is coming from, a lot of our hits. So, thank you. I cannot be any more flattered. Thank you. And I wanted to say, I'm a dog lover. I love animals. Okay, any kind of cruelty towards animals just gets under my skin. Okay, I don't like it, and I look at people as pieces of shit that do and are cruel to animals. I don't like that, and I want to help towards that. I want to help towards home or these shelters and things like that to help animals. And I'm not ignoring the homeless shelters on the people. However, I can help animals. I have the means of doing that on the T-ROH show. And if homeless shelters for people want to advertise who they are on the T-ROH show, just send me your logo and I'll put it up on the right side of the site so people see it and they can donate. Okay, and also the animal shelters. Big fan of animals, and I've got animals of my own, and I understand when people say they're family or they're like your children. And if folks, I'm going to tell you something. If you have a vet that is in a dark place, and I mean a really dark place, I was just watching one today. He came back and got his babies, his puppies, and he was crying. He said that those animals, he's single. He said that those animals have been there through thick and thin with him. In other words, when he's in a dark place, because he used to sleep in the closet because it was a small area, because of what he did over in Afghanistan and living through the nightmares. Every time he opened his eyes, the two were there. He saw four eyes looking at him, his two babies. Okay. And they stopped him from committing suicide. Animals are healing. Dogs are healing. I'm not normally a cat person, but I'm not cruel to cats either. Okay, just because I don't like them or I'm not a cat person doesn't mean that you have the right to be cruel to them. Okay. Cats had one. Just people would have laughed. He's like, it was raining. Okay, and I'm outside, and this is about I'd say about a year ago. I'm outside, and it comes running across the street, right up to the house. It's going crazy. It's raining and everything. I looked at him, and he came right up to me, and he looked at me and just whining like crazy. And I go, oh my God, look at this guy. He's skin and bones. Looked like he hadn't eaten months or weeks. Skin and bones. So I said, okay, tell you what, come on. And it was a girl, and I named her Miss Kitty. And I started feeding her. First thing I fed her we didn't have any cat food, so I didn't want to feed her dog food. So I gave her some sardines, and we put some tuna fish out there for her. And she just ate as fast as she could eat. And I made a home for her, made a little thing out of a styrofoam to keep her warm. And we put her out, on Facebook. Someone came and got her about a week later. Okay, so there's people out there that love those animals, and I knew that when we gave her to this woman, that I called her Miss Kitty. Miss Kitty just went and grabbed on her, wouldn't let go. So I said, okay, she's going to go to a good home. Okay, so Folks, what I'm trying to say is this. If you don't want your dog, give the dog away to somebody who does. Don't leave them out in the heat or in the cold just because you're an ass and you don't want the dog. It doesn't give you the right to be cruel to them. Now I'm going to show you some other stats today. We're going to get back to a regular T-ROH show. Just want to share some of those things with people and to help them understand. Give the dog away. Don't just drop the dog off. We had to take on a stray one time because somebody just dropped the dog off. So we brought him in, and he's been with us ever since. We've had him for 7 years. Okay? So, and we took care of him, and we got him fixed, and all that fun stuff that happens with dogs. And don't just drop them on the street. Go take them to a shelter. They'll take them, no questions asked. It's like somebody who will drop a baby in a dumpster when you could just take them right to a hospital and no questions asked. They don't ask you. And even the firehouses have little baby drop-offs and stuff like that. Instead, you dump them in a dumpster. What kind of idiot does that? It's just ignorance, folks. We got to get over our ignorance and our indifference or whatever. If people understand if you can't take care of them, we get it. No problem. So if somebody wants like an animal shelter, or somebody owns an animal shelter that listens to this show, just send us your get on the contact, and then we'll email you and get a hold of you, and just send us your logo, and we'll put in some information where your website is, and we'll go ahead and put that on there so people can go over and donate to you and support you and all that. That really needs to happen. Homeless shelters also, no problem. We'll do the same thing. We're about that. Okay, so and especially animals. In my case. So I really do. I can't think of any other place I'd want to be than with my own dogs. They're my best friends, and they hang out, and we have a good time. We'll play ball and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so just realize that, folks. And like I said, remember the vets. Remember the dark places they're in, and those animals will bring them to the light. And when I heard from that guy, that vet that was talking, or the veteran that was talking about that, not a vet as in veterinarian, it's just a veteran. Um, and I could tell he would have killed himself. He would have committed suicide if he had not had those dogs. So God gave him those dogs to heal him and help him. Okay? So please keep that in mind. Now I want to get on to some things. A lot of people were thinking about the coronavirus. I want to show you some of the cruelty that is planned or has been planned for you. And I think that I don't know why these people that have planned this are still free. Okay. Okay. Depopulation murder rates and then forthcoming planned global genocide 2018 to 2023. It was by Deagle.com, announced by Deagle.com. It's a short compilation to highlight the website Deagle and its wider implications. It was first analyzed by Ryan Zimmerman on Steemit. All credit goes to him and his posts. Deagle collects information on international military aviation and advanced technologies. It lists its partners as clients as NSA, NATO, Russian Defense, World Bank, UN, blah, blah, blah. Its reports on North Korea was given to the U.S. president during presidential daily briefings and quoted by a staffer report can be seen in WikiLeaks and blah, blah, blah. Now we're seeing with this coronavirus, which is man-made, by the way. We do have proof of that on reignoftheheavens.com. Just go over there, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the patent information on the coronavirus and who did it. Great detail, by the way. Okay, powerful global players. It says, for this reason, his forecasts have been taken seriously, not least because they are recognized as by powerful global players. They forecast drastic population decreases in the Western world. Analysis on Steemit described it as Deagle, a real intelligence organization. Okay, so here we go. Now this is a, for the company, this is a stat on what you guys are going to see. Population right now is 324 million. That was in 2016. That's a little bit higher than that. And this is their forecast of 2025, 54 million. Take it the way you want. It's 54 million. Okay. Not good news. That means that somebody is going to try to kill 200 something million people. That could be this coronavirus. It could be anything else. But you'll notice that the UN is trying to jump in and act like they're in charge. They're taking this little thing, and the World Health Organization is coming in, and we're going to declare an emergency for everybody. Go shut up. Okay, just go away, guys. We know what you're doing. You created and caused the problem. Now you're going to come up and try to be the solution. It's the dumbest plan I've ever heard. Okay, now here's 64 million in the United Kingdom. They're down to 14 million. So they're going to try to kill about 50 million people there. If I have my math right, yeah, 50 million. It could be the coronavirus, could be anything else. We don't know. It could be a nuke. Who knows? Or it could be a hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen bombs destroy people and do not destroy property. So here's Germany. It's 81 million. They're going to go down to 31 million. This is their deal by 2025, 5 years from now. Population 8.2 million in Switzerland. Okay, down to 5.5. They kill about 3.5 million people there, or 3 million. Okay, bad news, but at least you know it's there and you know who's going on. The search for the country is for Switzerland. We're sorry, no matches found, which means Switzerland is going to be completely gone. That's a genocide. That's what they're predicting. However, now we know. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Okay. That's people. I'll give you for instance. Everybody knows that Schiff has been lying. Everybody knows that. He does it right there in front of everybody. He doesn't care. Right in front of everybody, mocking the country. He's mocking the people. He's mocking the law. He don't give a damn. He'll sit and straight up lie in the Senate. He'll lie through the whole thing. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows what he's doing. Everybody knows that has been, paying any attention that he's involved in Ukraine also. And he's got, some shady deals going on over there, just like all the rest of them do. And so you start thinking about it and you think, wow, that guy will sit up there and just lie his butt off right in front of you. He went on there and just thought it was funny to make up his own stories, to create this whole fiasco and the whole deal. And then he just mocks people to call him a liar to his face. We've seen videos like that. And all this kind of thing. He just doesn't care. He loves, okay, now, why is that happening to you? You got to realize that. You're sitting here looking at this guy and he just gets away with everything, right? And, you'll get a freaking traffic ticket. This guy is committing treason against the world and the human race, okay? And he doesn't care. He gets away with it all day long. Must be a U.S. military protecting him, obviously. U.S. military has been protecting the courts, and all the judges came out of one of their mouths down in Florida. It says, I'm protected by the U.S. military. That's why you got Commander-in-Chief's flag sitting behind him. Okay, so that's anything I can do, anything I want to do, a badge or flag. If I want to do something, I can just do it. I'm going to show everybody how much I'm protected. They mock the world. And all it is torture. Is torturing you. Because people get frustrated over that he gets away with it, just like Hillary. She gets away with it, with all the crap she's done. Alexa calls her a serial killer. Just go ask about Hillary Clinton. She's known as a serial killer by Alexa. But that's torture. It's torment. That's what they're doing. I can do it. You can't. Just like, we need to get in diversity. Anybody ever look diversity up as to what it is? Okay, the definition of diversity is the condition of having or being composed of different elements, a variety, especially the inclusion of different types of people. All right. An instance being composed of differing elements or qualities, an instance of being diverse. Now they're coming in now, and it's actually becoming a law that if you don't have different races involved in a group, then all of a sudden you're not diverse enough, and we're going to go ahead and fix that. You're evil if you do that. Now, when people demonize you because of a certain condition, and that includes all races. In other words, if you had a group of Chinese people or a group of black people, and all there weren't white people or Chinese people in that group, then they're not diverse enough. Okay, that's how they are. And then they try to force that on you. They force this called forced association, which is a human rights violation, by the way. So diversity and the enforcement of diversity violates human rights because you're dealing with forced association and a specific human right. Okay, so go look up the UDHR and look in forced association. However, people look at that, don't say anything about it. That's a form of torture. That's a form of judgment without, and that's a totalitarian dictatorship, is what that is. They're forcing association on you. And if you say that or whatever, then he must be racist. It's nothing really to do with it. It's a forced association because the person that's forcing it, okay, is the same one that's causing the division because they're the same ones that are most racist of all because it means something to them all the time. They're obsessed with it, with race. Rather than looking at somebody for who and what they are, they look at their skin and say, "Oh, you belong over here because you're because of the color of your skin." That's a racist statement. So diversity is what they call a communist religion in order to break people up. It's a communist policy. It's a communist law. That's how they are. They don't shut up about it. It's unbelievable. It's a pain in the ass to be around. It's a pain in the ass to listen to. Those people are not really liked because there's diversity in every crowd, right? No, not really, because if they believe a certain way, they call them far right. Oh, you guys need to go away. Only these people over here. Okay? So what are they doing? They're taking and accepting an authority they don't have. Oh, your group's not diverse enough. I'm sorry, you part of the group? Well, no, go away. Turn right around, do an about face, march the other way. Have a good day. There are people that stick their nose in everybody else's business. In other words, they don't understand mind your business. Mind your own damn business. I've noticed that about Google and Facebook and a lot of those Twitters and all that. They don't mind their own business. They're into everybody's business. That means they're spying on everyone. They come in and they start throwing people off their platform. Well, you did this, this, and this. What business is it of yours? Why are you in my business? Why are you spying on me? I mean, it's gotten so bad that people call it Facebook jail. Facebook jail. Okay. So do you guys realize that every one of these things are called judgments and every one of these things are violations of due process? So basically the system that you have now under the Democrats and Republicans is a non-due process system. There is no such thing. Doesn't exist in their system. They're political parties. They're communist political parties. They have turned communism Republicans. I'm sorry, guys, they have. We see way too many times that they allow communism to move on. They allow communism in the courts. They actually enforce it in the courts. They're allowing it, so that means you become it. If you will not fulfill your own act and you will not follow your own constitution. Now, what do I mean by that, folks? It means Federal Reserve notes have nothing to do with the Constitution. Go look it up. Pick up a book, crack a book open. It says Constitution on it, and go read what kind of money they're supposed to be using. They don't use that money. That means they're all violating it. Every bit of them violate it. If you violate it, you have no law. If you have no law, you're lawless. If you're lawless, you're a communist. That's the way it works. Because communists are lawless. They're all shady deals. Hey, I know somebody, I can get something for you type deal. That's how it is. That's how it is in China right now. I know somebody, I can get you out. I can get you out of China. Those are the stories that are coming out of China right now. People are they know somebody, they can pay them enough money and they can get them out. That's how they're getting out. It doesn't matter if they have coronavirus or not. It just matters that they have enough money to get out of there. Okay? So that's what you have today. You have a huge corrupt system. Now, why is it that Hillary and Schiff and people like Pelosi and others on the right, I mean, we're talking about Republicans too. Why do they get away with all these crimes? Because they're in with the system. They bribe people and they know how to get favors. Because they're both communists. All of them are communists. Because that's how a communist system works. It works with bribery. You could sit and wait for a year for a free television, but if you knew somebody and you shove somebody some money, you can get it within a week. If you know somebody, you can murder a guy in a prison in front of everybody, and then even have a meme go around the country that says he wasn't murdered, he didn't commit suicide, and everybody points to the one they know who did it, and that person who we all know did it, gets away with it. Why? Because she understands communism. She knows money talks, man. All the rest of it walks. She knows how to work it. And she knows how to get around it. And she knows how to bribe. And she knows how to blackmail. Because that's what a communist system is. Face it, you're in a communist country. You have been for a long time. We've proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt, over and over. We even got another, remember in the Laney Talbot case? We got another one coming from DNC, lying their ass off. I wasn't even going to go through it tonight. Lying their ass off. Unbelievable lying in their case. But everybody knows it. Everybody knows they lie. That means they lie in the courts, but there's no enforcement against it. There's no perjury issues in the courts. These lawyers can lie all they want because they have what? Special privileges. They know how to work the communist system. They all work together. They're buddy-buddy. It's a good old boy system. Good old girl system. Women are just as bad in there. So there's no diversity there. I mean, they're all together. Lack of diversity there, I might say. So you can go into their course and lie your butt off. Who cares? Lie. It's no big deal because that's how they operate. Lawyers can lie. Judges can lie. They all lie every day, and nothing's done about it. That's a communist court system. They all lie. Okay? So don't act like you don't, and don't act like, oh, they're tarnishing our reputation, because you don't have a reputation. You know how many people are watching this around the world? So they're watching Schiff do what he's doing, watching Hillary get away with murder, watching Bill get away with it, raping and murdering people. And actually, Hillary's listed as a serial killer. I mean, seriously. And then it says in Alexa, the court system is so corrupt it won't prosecute her as a serial killer. By the way, her and Bill, both of them are serial killers. Everybody knows it. Nobody's going to do anything about it. You got sex trafficking rings going off everywhere. Okay? Now, what I just described, everybody knows that's listening to this is absolutely correct. And then what happens, folks? Oh, he believes he's not subject to our laws, to the jurisdiction of the state of Utah or the state of California. He doesn't believe that. He must be a sovereign citizen domestic terrorist. No, that's not true. What it is you got a good old boy system in there, and if you're not subject to it, neither am I. Wink, wink. If you guys can lie your ass off all day long, why should I tell you the truth? Why should I be honest? Why should I go with the law in your system? Okay, because everything about your system pulls you back into your system. It's like a life-sucking hole into corruption and crime and evil. That's exactly what it does. Once that system grabs a hold of you, it pulls you in. It doesn't push you towards God. It doesn't push you towards righteousness, like under Romans 13. So stop claiming Romans 13. Nobody listens to that crap. They all know you're lying. You're mocking God. You ain't following him. You're mocking him. Bunch of freaking hypocrites. And Schiff is up there mocking everybody. And you let it go through. You don't say a word. They're right there in front of you. You don't walk up, sir, hands behind your back, click, click, you're under arrest, get out of here. You're done. That's how it works. But all of you sit there and watch him do it. And you stick together. You're just as bad. Just remember, there's a real big if on when you die. Just let you know on where you might be going, because you have to repent for what you do. It's not only, that means you have to stop it. Okay, you can turn to Jesus and accept him as your Savior and Messiah and Savior. You can do that, but you have to repent. That means stop doing what you're doing in order to receive the new covenant. But most of you don't do that. What you do is you say, okay, well, praise the Lord and pass the plate. I get all that, but I'm not going to get religious on you. What I am going to say is this. People that come to the United States of America, and whether you recognize it or not, I don't care, because you're not a party to it. So go away and shut up. Nobody asks you for your opinion. That includes all lawyers, judges, and all you guys too. I don't give a shit whether you recognize it or not. Don't care. You're not a party to it. You're not a contract to it. Go away. Because that's what we're trying to tell you to do. 99.9% of the people that come to the United States of America, some are trying to get away from you, your crime and everything else. They're getting tired of it. So they're trying to go someplace else. And this just happens to be the original country. They're trying to go someplace else to get away from your criminal activity and the crimes of the Republican and Democratic parties, the communism of the Republican and Democratic Party. We all know you're communists, so just stop ignoring it. We all know that Virginia is a communist state. We all know that. So stop acting like you're not. And stop acting like you're voting laws in. They're all crap. And nobody's going to be subjected to that crap, and no one is going to freaking push it. Or even, it's an empty gesture. Nobody's going to enforce it. Because guess what? It's already not being enforced. Nobody's listening to you. You're a joke. You've been trying to go to communism. Nobody gives a shit about your communism. At least the majority of people don't. So that's what's going on, folks. Okay? They come to the government of the United States of America, and we shove them right through. We deliver them through. We don't shove them through. I'm just kidding. We deliver their person into the states of the Union, and they go to the ANU, and then some find friends. If you're a communist, you're not going to find any friends. If you start trying to control everybody else's business, you're not going to be in it. And don't understand the word mind your business, you're not going to find any friends. And 1 out of 10 will be a communist. 1 out of 10 at least will be a communist and won't last long. And we don't push it. We don't do anything. It all happens naturally. Naturally. It's just natural law. And so the ANU is growing. We're offering franchises, okay, to be opened up in the union. You just put in their franchise. You go over to the United States of America 1781.com. Go into any recording. You can record it there. We'll go ahead and put it in the newspaper as a franchise, and you're able to work in both jurisdictions. Not a big deal. Not a problem. Okay. So what we're doing is this. We're not being offered any kind of due process, and I don't think anybody else is either. There's basically no such thing as due process in there. It's guilty, pay the fine, guilty, pay the fine. So basically it's a cash register. And everybody knows that. Okay, so judge, guys, when you're listening to this, go sit down on the bench, and then when you see everybody out there, this is what they're thinking. How much do I have to pay this bastard to get out of here? Because that's the amount of respect they're giving you. Because they know that you're a piece of shit sitting in a seat. And you're there to go, guilty, pay the fine, guilty, pay the fine. You don't care about due process. You don't care about anything else. Everybody, why? Because everybody watches it and sees it every day. That's why. So don't lie to yourself and think that people respect you. Okay? They're just trying to pay you to get you to go away. Because that's the way a communist system works. And that's what you formed. That's what you did. Nobody else. You guys started that. You got nobody else to point to but yourselves on started how these courts have gotten this reputation. And when the people allowed their courts to be handed into a private membership association, you create a bunch of nobles above you. Rather than basically suing the crap. How long do you think the American Bar Association would last if they got 300 million lawsuits in one day? 300 million lawsuits in one day, civil lawsuit, objecting to them taking over the judicial branch or judicial department of every state, converting the term from judicial department to judiciary, and then putting it in the Constitution and not allowing anybody to vote on it. What do you think would happen to them? They'd be crushed. Done. Lawyers out. We're going to redo the whole thing. And that's what you got to do. You've got to revamp your whole judicial system. You got to fix it. It's causing more damage than you could ever imagine. It's literally responsible for over 100 million deaths of little babies. It's not a judicial system. It's a genocide system. The whole system was made for genocide. I just showed you what they plan for you in the near future. Go ahead, don't believe it. Stick your head in the sand. I don't care. See you on the other side. So this is what we're going to do as far as the first step towards freeing ourselves from this basic communist tyranny. That's what we're dealing with. The Committee of the National Assembly for the Government of the United States of America passes a defense rule against 527 political organizations. This will be the last part. That'll be the end of, after I read this, be the end of the 166th broadcast of the T-ROH show. Keep in mind that this is the theme. I'm thinking about changing the theme on this with all these different ofs and upper and lowercase letters. That is not us. That is the theme. Committee of the National Assembly for the Government of the United States of America. By the way, the Committee of the National Assembly is the original United States in Congress assembled. It just ended up there, okay? For the Government of the United States passes a defense rule against 527 political organizations. The Communist, Republican, and Democratic 527 organizations, it's police unions, because they're all communists, Private legislatures and its communist courts are becoming more and more aggressive under world communism and its influence. Guess what that means, folks? That's called treason. That's just describing treason. This is what's happened against your own country. A new rule has been created for the North American National Party, creating a republic forms of governments. And that's how we operate. We have 15 national governments right now in 15 states. They're sitting in trust because we're training people on how to run them. Rule adopted. The North American National Party shall have the authority to protect itself. Where's that coming from? Oh, United States and Congress assembled, known today as the Committee of the National Assembly. And its members from direct political attacks or from political attacks disguised as judicial, administrative, or otherwise. Okay, so folks, what's really going on is this. Guilty, pay the fine. Guilty, pay the fine. Guilty, pay the fine. That's a political attack. All right, that is a political attack. Guilty, pay the fine. He's a communist. Say it the way it is. Yell it out. He's a communist. Guilty, pay the fine. Doesn't even have any regard for human rights. I remember walking in there, this was in the 90s. I was walking into a traffic court. I saw the people lined up all the way around. There was, I don't know, it had to be 60 to 80 people there. They were lined up. Boom, boom, guilty, pay the fine. Guilty, pay the fine. Boom, boom, guilty, pay the fine. That dude brought in about probably $3,000-$4,000 that night and did it within an hour. Guilty, pay the fine. Guilty, pay the fine. Guilty, pay the fine. That's all he said. You've been charged with this. How do you plead? Well, I don't know. All right, going to do a non-guilty or not guilty plea for you. Well, no, I'm not. I don't want to do that. What's the fine? Fine. That's the way it works. It's hilarious and sad at the same time. With auto common law liens translated into federal common law liens against the Republican and Democratic 527 organizations at any time after the international notice of intent to sue has been served by the ambassador or the office of the Secretary of State for the government of, or for the United States of America or the government of the United States of America. Now, what I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't give a flying flip whether you recognize our ambassador or Secretary of State, because guess what? There are a lot of people that do, and a lot of people that have a whole lot more rank than you do, and and above your pay grade. Go take a look at the generals that and the militaries and the foreigners that recognize our Secretary of State and our ambassador. Okay? We don't give a shit what your little locals are saying and what your little locals are doing. I don't care. There are plenty of people that do, that are way above your pay grade. The lien shall be in the amount of 50 million XRP. So cryptocurrency. 50 million XRP, all right? Claim per incident until both 527 organizations learn the lessons of equal rights and the fact that they are not gods of the earth. Because that's what happens when you do that. When you go to pure totalitarian and communism, all of a sudden you believe yourself a god. Well, if you bleed, you're not a god. So that's the way it works. You can die like the rest of us, just like anybody else. So don't think that you're going to be immune from any sort of coronavirus. Okie doke. Now, all translations into federal common law liens will be signed by the office of the governor for the government of the United States of America. Which means, guess what? What we're going to do is, if you keep screwing with our people in any way, we've only had about 10 people right now that are being screwed with, but that's too many. It takes up a lot of our time. It's about 10 people out of many people, all right? And the ones that do screw with us, put them through a lot of hell. They do, and that's not necessary. Okay? So what we're going to do is this. We're going to send you a notice of intent to sue to the Republican and Democratic Party, because they're the ones responsible for this crap going on in locals and everything else. They're the ones that are writing the laws. So you're responsible for the communism. Both sides. So don't sit and act like you're not. Okay? Now, if that's the case, then what we're going to do here is this. It says, for with power comes responsibility, and these 527 organizations display the traits of undisciplined and childish communists every day. In other words, folks, I know everybody in this, and I know a lot of people in this country. And doesn't it? Aren't you embarrassed by watching what they're doing? It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. It's embarrassing. I mean, you got people, in other countries watching this, and these people are supposed to be representatives. No, they all got in by cheating in the elections. We have evidence of it. Everybody else has got evidence of it. Nobody seems to do anything about it, but we've got evidence. Okay, now the government of the United States of America spends way too much of its time and resources cleaning up the mess of an aforementioned 527 organizations and consistently attempting to educate its members. We have to constantly teach them. I don't care anymore. We got to constantly trying to teach them. They went through public school. Shit, most of them can't even sign their name. It says a political process does not need due process nor international due process. It's a political process. All right. So the American nationals and residents are consistently faced with no due process every day within 527 organizations, courts, which means that everything is a political process where no judicial process exists, and two can play at that game. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right. This rule applies to all past, present, and future accusations for these aforementioned 527 organizations, so the government of the United States of America can close out the books and get the cases settled. Which, by the way, we've won a couple of them last week. The Communist, Republican, and Democratic 527 organizations can contact the Office of the Secretary of State for the government of the United States of America. This is when those liens start really hurting you, because they're going to. The type of ones we have been in place since 1972. They've been challenged many times in court and won every time. You're not going to be able to remove them, boys. The only thing that's going to remove them is very simple. Drop all your casing, drop your charge, drop all your crap, get that person's name out of your system, and we'll move on. It's real simple. Every one of the people here have fulfilled one of the 7 steps that anybody could take individually of one of those 7 steps to remove any type of U.S. citizenship. So it's done. Your recognition is not required. And if you don't think playing the non-recognition game, which is basically what, hiding evidence in court, you don't think that's what you're doing? Hiding evidence in court, prosecutor, Mr. Felony? That's what you're doing? And you're prejudicing them and you're trying to silence them, Mr. Communist Prosecutor? Just ask Israel how liable they are for what they've been doing, for the non-recognition game. How well that did for them. Okay? At any time to discuss terms of peace, otherwise the Communist, Republican, and Democratic 527 organizations can keep racking up international liabilities by consistently attacking civilians with its military forces within each of its illegal creature states within states. Okay, this is a state within state. We read the law of nations, and there's also a thing that says that you can't create a state within a state without the consent of the state, change its metes and bounds and borders without consent of the other state, and you violated that too. But I'm sure you probably haven't thought of that since you go to your clubs and why you're having sex with children and all that stuff. So I would imagine, creating states within states, no big deal. Who cares, right? Well, you will when those liens start eating up your campaigns, your election campaigns. When it starts eating that up, eventually you'll care, because it takes away your addiction to children. You see, folks, the only way to get to somebody who's an addict and a piece of crap is take away their drug and make it to where they can't afford their drug anymore. So Miss Pelosi, when she has to start paying out of her own pocket the $220 million that she has, by the way, 50,000 or 50 million XRP is 12.5 million per count. And folks, you cannot remove these liens. They don't go away. Okay? And they're being done towards political parties and buying between political parties. So they can't come back and say we're committing felonies, can they? All we can say is, you're trespassing, go away. Well, you must be sorry for. I don't care what you say. Go away. You don't get it. Go away. We're not going down your road to purgatory and despair. We're not going there. And through your, what do you call it? Your addictions and all your crap that you're doing. Going in somebody's home, taking their children and getting and trafficking them. Y'all be ashamed of yourselves, pieces of shit. So anyway, thanks for listening to the 166th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. I know I went over a little bit further, but I think that the points being made here, people will need to know. We are not kidding about this. This is now in force. And we got to clean up some of the crap that people have been doing to some of our people, which has been absolutely the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. If this is going to be a fight between political parties, so I'd imagine the judicial part and the police union, stay the hell out of it. It's between us. All of you stay the hell out of it. If you're not willing to clean up your own mess, we're going to clean it up for you. Clear? Everybody stay the hell out of it. It's between the North American National Party, Republicans and Democrats, and the communists. If you're not willing to fight the communists, stay out of the way. Just shut the hell up, stay out of the way. Thanks for listening to the 166th broadcast of the T-ROH Show. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.